let's finish this. So we have done basically everything that we set out to do on the rig. So we've got all of our spine, we have a reverse foot leg, we have IKFK switch, arm, and finger controls, and a face with a few blend shapes to make Patrick here smile. And you should be smiling too because we are about done. So the last thing we want to do is we just want to clean up our rig and we want to have it all ready for our animators to use. So the few things that we need to do, we're going to clean up a couple things here. We're mostly all cleaned up. You can see we have all of our names. These are all of our controls with all the constraints and everything in there. So that is looking pretty good. What we want to do is I have these, our IKFK joints on the right side. So on the left side, I just parented it straight to the clavicle control. On the right side, I made a little group and had the clavicle um, joint be the parent constraint for those joint chains. So either is totally fine. But what we want to do is we want to put these joints in our global control. So we're just going to parent that there. And then we want to take our root joint and we're going to put it under global control as well. So now we have everything here. And if everything is set up right, what we can do is we can actually take our global control and now our character is totally scalable. So um, yeah, you just have to have your joints in there and then all of your other controls. So what we want to do now is, yeah, we can use scale here, but a lot of these other controls, we have our scale, and they're going to give us these really weird results. So things that we don't want our animators to use, we want to hide, okay? So we just want to make available those things that are actually available. So what we're going to do is, so unlike our root control, we don't want scale, and we don't care, and we don't want to turn the visibility on or off. So we're going to select all those in our channel box, and if you right click on it, you can scroll down, and there is a lock and hide selected. If we do that, it just cleans up those channels. And we're going to do that with all of our controls. Anything that we don't want to have scale or other options available, we are going to get rid of. So now that I've done that, I can just go through and hit my G key to get rid of that. Same with my most of my joints, most of my controls, I don't want any scale and I don't want my visibility. I don't want the animators to accidentally turn off a control so they can't see it. And then they're trying to hunt through all of our wonderful hard work to try to turn it back on, and they can get into some trouble there. So we are just going to lock and hide everything we don't want them to use. So mostly scale and visibility. So whatever we select, I'm just hitting G to lock those out. Then with this control, it's really just our position that we care about. So I don't want rotate. Rotate doesn't do anything on that. So we're going to lock and hide all of those, including that visibility. Once you have made connections to an attribute, so like for instance, we'll look at this hand, and we can see we have all these channels here. The lock and hide, the functionality will be locked in place. So it will still work. You don't have to worry about any of that. So the IKFK, the only thing that's on here that we're going to be allowing our animators to use is just that one attribute. So we're going to lock and hide everything on that. So we just have that. And then with our arm control, we're going to lock and hide our scale and visibility as well. We're going to leave world on, and we can actually grab all of those finger controls at once. We're going to do the same thing, scale X, Y, Z, and visibility, and we're going to lock and hide those. And we're going to do the same thing with our scale and visibility on our thumb control as well. So and what we're going to be doing is just cleaning up everything, all of our controls. So there's a lot of them. So most of them are just going to be scale and visibility. We're going to hide that. Things like our eye controls, though, are individualized. The rotation won't do anything. It's just a translation. So we're going to hide everything except for translation and the blink. So again, you select all the channels you want to lock and hide, and right click and go lock and hide, selected, and we'll do the same thing on our right eye. We don't care about any of those. We just want that. So with our eye control, we actually can use the rotation. So we'll leave the rotation available, but we're going to lock and hide our scale X, Y, and Z and visibility. We'll get rid of that. And then we just have to do it to everything. So that's basically what we're going to be doing, is just cleaning up everything we don't want our animators to use. So we haven't set up any sort of special scale ability on any of these. So we are not going to use that. I'm just going to select all of these controls. Get rid of scale and visibility. And we'll do the same on all of these controls. Scale and visibility. Okay. Those are set. Our neck is done. Our right clavicle, lock and hide. We're going to do the same thing with our right arm. Full vector control. We don't need our rotate. It's just a translate tool. So we'll lock and hide those. We're going to lock and hide everything on this except for our IKFK, and then the fingers, same thing. Scale and visibility, or we're going to lock and hide. And our arm control, scale and visibility. And then that way, anything that has a constraint on it, like the control or direct connections to it, they're being hidden from our animators. So those are good. And then our 2 feet controls, we're going to hide our scale and visibility. And we're just cleaning up everything. Okay, and then same thing with our jaw. There is no scale or visibility, so we don't need that. And then we just need to switch over, use our switch to get to all of our FK controls. We'll do the same thing. Select all 3 of those. We're going to lock and hide our scale and visibility. And then finally, our last ones right here. Lock and hide. Okay. At this point, we are pretty good. The other things that we could do is we could say, hey, I don't want them to mess with the position of the world orient group, so I can lock and hide everything on here. So that is off. And then I'm going to turn the visibility off on this group. I don't want them using that. And then I can do the same thing and just lock and hide this. They don't need to see it. There we go. And let's just make sure there's nothing else hiding in here that we might have missed. Yeah, our IKs we want to turn off. We don't want these on. So their visibility is off. We could do the same thing and lock those out, but most likely they're gonna, your animators aren't gonna get in there. So just want to make sure the visibility is turned off on all of those. And I think we're good. We're done. So that's it. We're gonna hit Control Save, and now you have your first rig. We have our Patrick model, provided by Makar Maliki. Thanks again. And now it's ready to animate. So at this point, we would hand it off to an animator. They would start animating. They might come back and say, hey, I need this, or you missed this, or some of your skin weights are a little weird. Can we fix that? And we certainly can do that. So yeah, the other thing that we can do is we can also turn off all of our joints. There you go. Now it is totally clean. So good job. Pat yourself on the back. But this concludes the foundation and rigging tutorial series. So if you made it through this, you have a really strong foundation in rigging. These are the general principles and practices that are used for rigging. And if you dig into other rigs, you're going to find a lot of the same things that we've done here and a lot of those same principles. So, getting further into things, we have all of our parent groups. A lot of times we don't use them other than to house our orientation and position of our control. But a lot of times if you can create like hand controls to do like a fist, and maybe display your fingers out, and maybe to kind of cup them or relax them. And a lot of that will be done through set-driven keys on these group nodes. They'll be all set with different rotation and position. And that way the animator can go in, they can use those special attributes, and then they can still go in and grab their controls and add extra movement on each of those. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot. And yeah, good luck with the rest of your rigging adventures. If you have questions, concerns, or need a little bit of help, go ahead and post in the comments, and I'll happily try to respond when I can. Best of luck to you. Thanks for sticking through it.